clamp it.
Well, there it is, Ellie, and you may clamp it. You don't buy any.
Soon after the show's heyday, many viewers wondered what became of the beloved cast behind the Clampett family and their neighbors. Some met quiet ends, slipping away without much fanfare, while others faced more public battles with illness or tragedy. For instance, Buddy Ebsen, whose slow southern drawl and mischievous grin became a fixture on television screens, lived a long life and made it to the age of 95. He spent his final days battling respiratory failure in California, surrounded by family memories and mementos from his decades-long career. Meanwhile, Irene Ryan, widely remembered for her sharp wit and lively expressions, faced a different fate. After the series wrapped, she graced the Broadway stage but was struck down by a stroke and glioblastoma, a form of brain cancer, passing away at age 70. Donna Douglas, whose sunny charm lit up the screen, lived quietly in Louisiana after her Hollywood years. She faced pancreatic cancer and died at age 82, cherished by friends and fans who remembered her as Ellie Mae Clampett. Max Beard Jr., who played the lovable and dim-witted Jethro, outlived most of his castmates. He's known to have pursued business ventures and, as years passed, faded from public view. Raymond Bailey, who played the nervous but greedy banker, struggled with Alzheimer's disease and died of a heart attack in California in his late 70s. Nancy Culp, clever and loyal as Miss Hathaway, fought against cancer and died at age 69, quietly with her loved ones close. Even though their lives eventually ended, their laughter and stories continued to echo through reruns and shared memories as people recall not just the talents but the real lives behind those TV icons.
To see it up yonder? Yeah. I wonder if they need a right good first-class piano player.
After beginning his performing career with his sister Vilma in the energetic world of Broadway vaudeville acts during the late 1920s, Buddy Ebsen soon set his sights on Hollywood. Together, they filled the screen with their lively dance routines, especially in the MGM musical starring Eleanor Powell, capturing the attention of film audiences in 1935 with their undeniable talent. Ebsen's big break in The Wizard of Oz seemed certain, as he was first cast to play the Scarecrow. However, after a cast switch, he was instead set to portray the Tin Man. However, because of the aluminum dust used in his makeup, he suffered a severe allergic reaction that left him hospitalized, and the role was taken over by Jack Haley. Undeterred by this setback, Ebsen continued his acting journey, creating a memorable impression in Disney's Davy Crockett television series, leading to even greater fame on the small screen. When television began to capture the nation's imagination, Ebsen found his most iconic role starring as Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, portraying the kind-hearted backwoodsman who strikes it rich and moves his family to Beverly Hills, providing endless humor and charm for audiences for years. Later, his television fame continued with his work as Barnaby Jones, showing his versatility by switching from comedy to detective drama. Through more than 70 years of performing, Buddy Ebsen became a beloved figure to multiple generations. His life came to a close on July 6, 2003, when he passed away from respiratory failure at the age of 95.
Billy, that is. Set a spell. Take your shoes off. Y'all come back now. Here?
After Irene Ryan was born on October 17, 1902, her natural gift for performing quickly became clear when she won an amateur singing contest at just 11 years old. Throughout her life, she showcased a special blend of humor and talent, especially during the vaudeville era, when she teamed up with her husband Tim Ryan in a popular comedy act. As entertainment shifted, she moved gracefully from the vaudeville stage to radio, building a reputation for quick wit and lively delivery. Then, she found her way into films and television, eventually securing her place in television history as Daisy Mae Granny Moses on the Beverly Hillbillies. Her portrayal of Granny, the feisty matriarch with a sharp tongue and a big heart, remains one of the most memorable in classic sitcoms, earning her admiration from fans across generations. Despite her heavy smoking habit, Irene Ryan remained committed to performing. Her love of the craft led her to Broadway, where she took on a role in Pippin. Unfortunately, during one of her performances, she suffered a stroke. Doctors then diagnosed her with glioblastoma, a serious illness. Even so, her career is a testament to her determination and dedication to her audience. She continued to perform until her passing on April 26, 1973, at the age of 70, leaving behind a legacy as one of television's great comedic talents.
Hard way. Well, duty calls. I leave you in capable hands. Goodbye, Mr. Clampett. Thank you.
After her unforgettable portrayal of Ellie Mae Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, Donna Douglas left an enduring impression on television viewers with her charm and ability to make the character feel real and relatable. She quickly became a fan favorite for her natural warmth, which shone through every episode. While audiences loved her sweet manner and rapport with the rest of the cast, her appeal went far beyond her time on the show. In the years that followed, she expanded her interests and found success outside of acting, proving her versatility time and again. She built a new career in real estate, showing a knack for helping people find places to call home. Alongside her work in real estate, she explored her passion for gospel music, expressing her faith through singing and sharing her love for inspirational songs at various events. She became well known for her inspirational speaking, bringing encouragement and positive messages to many who came to hear her stories about her life and experiences. Donna Douglas cared deeply about families and children, which inspired her to write children's books, sharing her gentle spirit and imagination with young readers. She always prioritized her close relationship with her own family, treasuring those bonds even as she stayed in touch with her fans and friends from her television days. Her life was filled with many pursuits, all revolving around kindness and hard work. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away on January 1, 2015, at the age of 82, leaving behind a legacy that continues to touch people who remember her both as Ellie Mae and as a kind, multi-talented woman in her own right.
Jethro! Hot diggity dog! I got me a winner!
Looking back, Max Baer Jr. brought the lovable, sometimes clueless Jethro Bodine to life on the Beverly Hillbillies, becoming a key reason why audiences tuned in to the show week after week. His natural talent for comedy shone in every episode, making Jethro a household name even decades after the show first aired in 1962. As the only son of boxing champion Max Baer, he carved his own path in entertainment, stepping outside his father's imposing shadow. After the series ended, Baer Jr. didn't limit himself to just acting. He poured his creativity into producing and directing, eager to prove his abilities stretched much further than his famous role. He experimented in feature films, sometimes taking on those both in front of and behind the camera. There were hurdles along the way, including legal battles and personal losses, but he continued to reinvent himself. When television no longer offered the same opportunities, Baer Jr. saw a future in business. Drawing on his connection to the Beverly Hillbillies, he invested in gambling and hospitality enterprises, capitalizing on nostalgia and the enduring popularity of the show. As years passed and his co-stars left the spotlight for good, Baer Jr. became the last regular cast member still alive, a living link to a television classic that still delights viewers old and new.
Some way.
I could shinny up the tree and climb.
Meanwhile, Raymond Bailey brought a special energy to the television series The Beverly Hillbillies when he stepped into the role of Milburn Drysdale. Audiences quickly noticed his memorable take on the greedy, yet comical banker, who constantly schemed to keep the Clampett family's fortune at his financial institution. Bailey's performance added a clever, light-hearted spirit to every episode, creating a character who was always nervous and desperate, but never quite as sly as he wanted to be. Before becoming known as Mr. Drysdale, Bailey enjoyed a strong career on Broadway and in films, bringing years of training and stage presence to his later television work. He captured the audience with his timing, expressive face, and ability to turn even the simplest line into a laugh. Off-screen, however, Bailey faced real-life struggles. After years on stage and screen, he developed Alzheimer's disease, which eventually forced him to leave acting in 1975. His health continued to decline until his death from a heart attack on April 15, 1980, at the age of 75.
Look, Bruce, and when you see the beauty I've warmed up for you.
For just a minute now, I want to talk to you.
Originally from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Nancy Culp became well known for her portrayal of Miss Jane Hathaway on the Beverly Hillbillies, a role that left a lasting impression on fans of classic television. Before making her mark in Hollywood, Culp explored a career in journalism, proving her ability to engage audiences both on paper and on screen. Her character, Miss Jane Hathaway, worked as a loyal and dedicated secretary, blending humor with a touch of formality, which quickly made her a viewer favorite on the hit series. Beyond her success on television, Culp ventured into the world of politics, inspired to bring change outside the entertainment industry. In 1984, she ran for Congress, reflecting the determination and resilience she often displayed in her acting roles. However, her political journey was met with resistance, most notably from Buddy Ebsen, her co-star from the Beverly Hillbillies, who did not support her campaign. Despite the challenges she faced, Nancy Culp continued to demonstrate courage throughout her life. Sadly, in 1990, she was diagnosed with cancer, and on February 3, 1991, she passed away at the age of 69. Culp's contributions to both television and her community remain memorable, highlighting her multifaceted career and steadfast spirit. Furthermore, Harriet McGibbon brought out a special spark in her role as Mistress Margaret Drysdale on the 1962 television series The Beverly Hillbillies. With a background rich in stage and television performances, she earned admiration for the depth and comic timing she offered on screen. As the wealthy and refined Mistress Drysdale, McGibbon played the perfect foil to the Clampett clan, always striving to keep up appearances in her luxurious Beverly Hills home. Her stately presence and particular way of delivering lines turned Mistress Drysdale into a character both funny and memorable. Audiences enjoyed her interactions and reactions to the rustic ways of her new neighbors, a contrast that kept the comedy sharp and lively. Long before she stepped into the Beverly Hills mansion, McGibbon had shown her talent in theatrical productions, but it was this television series that put her in the living rooms of countless fans. Her influence carried beyond comedy, as she handled the character with warmth and a subtle strength fitting for someone who had seen so much of society change throughout her lifetime. Sadly, Harriet McGibbon passed away on February 8, 1987, at the age of 81, after experiencing pulmonary and cardiac issues, but her work continues to be fondly remembered by those who appreciate classic television and the golden age of sitcoms.
Mrs. Drysdale must be in terrible shape. Fighting me, scratching.
Growing up in San Francisco after being born in New York City, Bea Benaderet became a beloved figure through her work in theater, radio, and television. Gifted with a distinctive voice and a talent for comedy, she stood out in a crowded field. Her early career flourished in radio, where her clever timing and expressive delivery brought countless characters to life. Moving to television, she built a reputation as a versatile actress, able to handle both dramatic and comedic roles. Eventually, she made her mark starring in shows like Petticoat Junction, becoming widely recognized for her portrayal of warm, witty characters who connected with audiences all over America. She was equally celebrated for her voice work, which distinguished her in animated series as well. Bea Benaderet's career was as vibrant as her personality, earning her a beloved status both on screen and off. However, her joyful life was sadly interrupted when she was diagnosed with lung cancer, an illness that she struggled with bravely. Despite her illness, she continued to work, inspiring everyone around her with her resilience. After her passing on October 13, 1968, the grief deepened even further as her husband Eugene Toombley suffered a heart attack and died the day following her funeral, leaving a legacy touched by both immense talent and poignant loss.
Fight for the privilege.
How much you reckon they pay?
Oh, I'd say at rock bottom prices at least $5 a head.
20.
Even before his famous role on the 1962 television series, The Beverly Hillbillies, Buddy Ebsen shared the screen with his sister Vilma in several of MGM's musical films, featuring the celebrated dancer Eleanor Powell. Audiences were captivated by their light-hearted and energetic performances, especially in the beloved Broadway melody of 1936, which highlighted Buddy's remarkable dance skills and charming presence. This early chapter of his career not only established his name in Hollywood, but also linked him closely with classic musical comedies of the 1930s. Years later, Buddy switched genres and joined the cast of Disney's Davy Crockett series. Taking on a dramatic and adventurous role, Buddy demonstrated just how versatile he could be. He captivated new viewers and proved himself to be much more than a song and dance man. Displaying humor, seriousness, and an approachable manner, Buddy Ebsen balanced both his musical comedy roots and his success in popular American television dramas, connecting generations of fans across different kinds of entertainment.
Aren't we? Yes, but look, Gladys, if it'll make you feel any better, we won't tell her who we are.
Moving from one memorable role to another, Buddy Ebsen became even more widely recognized when he played Barnaby Jones in the series that bore the same name. His calm, measured performance as the private detective brought a sense of wisdom and reliability to television, helping the show to stay on air for many years. This was far from Ebsen's first foray into show business. Long before he took on the world of TV detectives, he had already become a familiar face as a dancer and actor. One of his most notable achievements was sharing the stage with Judy Garland and Shirley Temple, two of the brightest stars in the MGM golden era. Ebsen's tap dancing style, tall lanky frame, and gentle humor made him an ideal partner for dance routines, adding a playful touch to classic performances. As a dance partner to Judy Garland, Ebsen contributed to the lively spirit of early musical films, working within MGM Studios, surrounded by Hollywood's most influential names, shaped Ebsen into a performer of remarkable versatility. Whether he was bringing characters to life in films, or leading the storyline on television as Barnaby Jones, his career reflected a rich tapestry of American entertainment, spanning everything from vaudeville to black and white musicals to the steady storytelling of primetime TV. His credentials from MGM's storied productions with Garland and Temple offered a foundation that carried through to his later, iconic television success.
Don't let Pearl near the kitchen again.
After spending years in vaudeville, Irene Ryan found a strong partnership with Tim Ryan. Their combined talents in writing and comedy made them popular performers, drawing crowds who enjoyed their back and forth style and clever routines. Audiences enjoyed how Irene Ryan and Tim Ryan played off each other, creating memorable moments that highlighted their individual skills and their teamwork. This stage experience helped Irene develop her timing and unique way with comedy, skills she later brought to television. Later in her career, Irene appeared on television shows that became household names. Her guest roles on The Danny Thomas Show were especially noteworthy, allowing her to display her comedic abilities and charm to a wider audience. She also made appearances on The Real McCoys, another beloved TV show from that era, where her warmth and humor resonated with viewers. These appearances on popular series helped her stay in the public eye and set the stage for her eventual breakthrough into more famous roles. Her early experiences with Tim Ryan and the steady television work demonstrated her adaptability and deep connection to American comedy.
Remember the time that your pa took us to Eureka Springs to see the movie picture?
After years spent charming audiences as Jethro Bodine on the 1962 series The Beverly Hillbillies, Max Baer Jr. faced a personal battle no role could prepare him for. In 28, he experienced deep heartbreak when his girlfriend, Cheer Rhodes, a penthouse model, died tragically. The loss brought attention to Baer's private life in a way he had rarely experienced even during the height of his television fame. Years before this tragedy, Baer Jr. had found professional success beyond the antics and country humor of the Beverly Hillbillies. He took inspiration from Bobby Gentry's haunting song Ode to Billy Joe, adapting it into a movie that captivated audiences in 1976. The film, titled Ode to Billy Joe, offered a darker, more emotional side to Baer's talents, proving he could excel beyond comedy and attract new viewers. These two parts of Baer's life, the grief he endured personally and the reinvention he achieved professionally, painted a complex picture of a man known to many as a comic actor, but who also managed to direct, produce, and weather life's storms. Beyond the screen, his story is marked by resilience, whether facing success in adapting a popular song or coping with loss in his private life.
on.
Talking about me?
He must ask a dozen questions about you.
But Jethro, I don't even...
Before Max Baer Jr. brought the character of Jethro Bodine to life on the Beverly Hillbillies, he gained acting experience through various television appearances, making his mark on shows like Maverick, Surfside 6, and Hawaiian Eye. Each of those roles allowed him to refine his on-screen presence, preparing him for the role that would make him a household name. Meanwhile, Nancy Culp, who played the sharp-tongued Miss Jane Hathaway, spent her earlier years developing her academic skills. She completed a degree in journalism at Florida State College for Women and went on to study English and French at the University of Miami, shaping her intellect and love of language. Both Baer and Culp brought unique life experiences to the Beverly Hillbillies, drawing on their varied backgrounds to help create memorable television history. Their skills and discipline from both their education and early television work contributed greatly to the enduring success of the show. The vibrant personalities and life stories of the cast behind the Beverly Hillbillies helped to form a sitcom that many viewers still recall with fondness, rooted partly in the diverse paths that brought its stars together on screen.
Things are outside my field.
A doctor goes where he's needed. He don't just stay on his own land.
Soon after the Beverly Hillbillies arrived on screens in 1962, viewers might have noticed some familiar voices and faces from other beloved entertainment landmarks. Bea Benaderet, though many remember her lively on-screen performances, had already made her voice a comforting fixture in American homes long before her time as Cousin Pearl Bodine. She honed her warm, clever delivery for years on radio, especially through the celebrated Burns and Allen show. On that classic program, Benaderet's timing and wit brought subtle life to supporting characters, making her instantly recognizable to thousands who once gathered around their radios each evening. Her influence in comedy did not start or end with television, as she transitioned artfully across different mediums, carrying the rhythm of radio humor into the world of television sitcoms like the Beverly Hillbillies. Meanwhile, Harriet McGibbon, who played the formidable Mistress Drysdale, had her own fascinating history before taking up her famous role in Beverly Hills. She once shared the stage with none other than Jack Dempsey, the legendary world heavyweight boxing champion. Their collaboration took shape in Max Marston's theatrical work The Big Fight, where McGibbon's stage experience meshed with Dempsey's star power, creating a unique blend of drama and celebrity. Touring with Dempsey brought McGibbon a taste of life beyond conventional acting, connecting her with the sports world, and earning her acclaim for her versatility and elegance on stage. These backgrounds gave both actresses deep wells of experience to draw from in their television roles, making their performances on the Beverly Hillbillies memorable for generations.
I like the little fella, Ma.
I'm glad you do. But you gotta stop picking.
Despite being well known for her television work, Harriet McGibbon established herself as a talented actress long before stepping onto the set of the Beverly Hillbillies. Her stage career began on Broadway, where her gifted performances caught the attention of both audiences and critics. In particular, her role in the play You Can't Take It With You showcased her skills in live theater. Working with an ensemble cast, McGibbon mastered the subtleties of delivering lines with perfect timing, creating an engaging and memorable stage presence. This experience on Broadway honed not only her craft as an actress, but also her understanding of the way a character's personality can shape an entire scene. The lively atmosphere backstage, the nightly ritual of preparing for performances, and the camaraderie shared among actors were vivid parts of her career in this era. Every night in productions like You Can't Take It With You, McGibbon connected with audiences, responding in real time to laughter and applause, which is a very different feeling from television acting. The confidence and poise she developed during her years on Broadway became defining parts of her professional identity, helping ensure a smooth transition when she later appeared on the small screen. Immersed in the traditions of the stage, McGibbon never lost the discipline and energy that Broadway required, which added depth to all her later work in film and television.
That is ludicrous, irrational, sophomoric, and pure hokum.
As the story of the Clampetts draws to a close for now, you might be wondering what became of the real faces behind those unforgettable characters. Up next, prepare to go behind the scenes as we trace the journeys of the actors who brought the world of the Beverly Hillbillies to life. Discover how sudden fame changed their lives, which paths they followed after leaving the mansion behind, and what surprising stories unfolded once the cameras stopped rolling. Some found new adventures in television and film, while others faced moments in the spotlight that turned bittersweet. In this special bonus segment, we pull back the curtain to reveal personal anecdotes, hidden struggles, and achievements that shaped the cast's later years. If you thought you knew Granny, Jed, Jethro, and Ellie Mae, what you learn next just might surprise you. Stay with us to hear the remarkable, sometimes unexpected fates of the beloved Beverly Hillbillies cast.
Man, be a dang fool to leave all this.
Bea Benaderet brought Cousin Pearl Bodine to life with sharp wit and raw energy in 1962, carving out one of the era's most memorable female characters. Her voice carried a frantic hope that covered cracks of insecurity, hinting at life's harder edges behind her laughs, all while Pearl schemed and protected her dim-witted kin. The impact of this role was deep, yet Benaderet's world was already heavy with secrets. She had built a career as a relentless worker in radio and animation before TV, never in the top slot, always in supporting roles, famously uncredited for giving voice to Betty Rubble on the Flintstones. Benaderet's private life veered far from her sunny on-screen persona. Rumors of spats with producers over salary and screen time swirled and grew louder after a reported on-set argument with series creator Paul Henning. Her second marriage collapsed quietly, shadowed by family strains and long absences demanded by studio contracts. Later, Benaderet's health failed, In 1967, she was diagnosed with lung cancer, a battle she largely kept out of the public eye. Industry rumors hinted she denied her illness to continue working, her performances growing increasingly frail. By autumn 1968, she was confined at home, only close family allowed inside. The final known photographs show a pale woman, threadbare but unbroken. Benederet died in October 1968, her legacy marked by a refusal to let scandal, heartbreak, or illness erase the trace she left, both on screen and out of view.
I select at random an employee to be my teammate.
Well, that seems sporting, eh, Hacker?
Sharon Tate appeared in the Beverly Hillbillies as Janet Trigo, a pretty, sweet bank secretary whose fleeting charm helped her stand out even in minor scenes. Though just a recurring character, Tate's effortless beauty and on-screen warmth hinted at stardom, earning fan attention, though she was often hidden behind a brunette wig. After leaving the series, Sharon's world became entangled with Hollywood's glamour and its pronounced darkness. Her film career gained traction with roles in Valley of the Dolls and The Fearless Vampire Killers, but critics often overlooked her acting, focusing on her appearance and personal life. Her turbulent relationship with director Roman Polanski, laced with public speculation and whispers of infidelity, pulled her into a world where rumors spread faster than achievements. Despite early successes, Tate's life became haunted by fear and isolation, fueled by stalking and unsettling encounters with strangers. The most chilling chapter ended on a night in August 1969, when Tate, 8 months pregnant, was brutally murdered alongside friends in her own home by followers of Charles Manson. The violence and randomness of her death cast a shadow over 1960s Hollywood, making Tate a lasting symbol of innocence lost to sudden evil. No new information can soften the enduring tragedy that defines her final days.
Please, Mrs. Bodine, not like that.
Mr. Drysdale,
Max Baer Jr. brought raw comic power to Jethro Bodine, giving the awkward, simple-minded character a sharp edge that both amused and unsettled audiences. Off-camera, Baer struggled with being typecast, the shadow of Jethro looming over every audition and deal. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Baer faced a brutal industry. Studios saw him as a joke. His efforts to transform, shifting from actor to writer, producer, and director, brought a brief light. He found critical praise with Macon County Line, but fame never matched the old heights. There were legal battles too, most famously with CBS over use of the Beverly Hillbillies for proposed casino ventures, a fight that dragged through courtrooms and tabloids for years. Baer's personal life stayed elusive, carved by loss and loneliness, his legendary father's boxing legacy, the violent death of a girlfriend, betrayal by business partners, and isolation from Hollywood's inner circles. Recent years have been spent in near silence, sightings rare, rumors common. The last known reports place him living quietly in California, distant from film and press, as if Jethro's ghost himself had stepped into exile.
Let's all go home and meet the bride.
Buddy Ebsen's portrayal of Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies brought a strange gravity beneath the show's humor. His eyes could flicker from innocence to suspicion in a heartbeat, like he understood more than the audience was allowed to know. Ebsen himself carried his own shadows. After the show ended, he found himself both shaped and haunted by Jed Clampett's shadow, rarely escaping the way Hollywood and the public merged his own face with the character's cheerful, unworried mask. Ebsen's earlier career was already marked by trauma. He was cast as the original Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz, a role that almost killed him when the aluminum makeup poisoned his lungs, putting him in the hospital and leaving him with lifelong respiratory problems. He was abruptly replaced and never credited. Following Hillbillies, Ebsen fought off typecasting to land the lead in Barnaby Jones, playing a relentless detective. Privately, his life had rough edges. His oldest daughter, a writer, spoke publicly about their distant relationship, and there were family lawsuits over inheritance disputes after his death. Ebsen lived to be almost 96. His later years spent quietly painting and writing, the industry's spotlight moving elsewhere. As of the most recent records, his legacy lingers uneasily, both beloved and strangely unsettled, like Jed Clampett's grin hiding something unspoken.
I don't care if it's Stonewall Jackson. And I think Mr. Drysdale has a lot of gall to ask us to take his wife's kin.
As Dr. Roy Clyburn, Fred Clark brought an air of sharp tension to the Beverly Hillbillies, stepping into the quirky world of the Clampetts as a no-nonsense physician. Though he only appeared briefly in the series, his precise, often severe presence disturbed the otherwise easygoing mood, making his role as the family doctor unforgettable. After his time on the show, Clark faced a string of disappointments. He continued to land supporting roles in both film and television, often typecast as the gruff authority figure, never quite breaking into leading man status. Beneath this steady work was a private life marked by turbulence. In 1963, his rocky marriage to actress Benet Venuta drew public scrutiny, with bitter allegations of infidelity on both sides splashed across gossip columns. The relentless glare of Hollywood seemed to close in on him as his health deteriorated, heavy drinking followed by a cancer diagnosis. By the late 1960s, Clark's public appearances became rare, rumors of financial troubles and old debts circulating quietly. He died in 1968, leaving little behind but stark silence, final interviews trailing off with unasked questions. No new information has emerged, just fading memories and unanswered mysteries.
Sure is a hanker to see you.
Oh, boy! I gotta get us some possum now, because if there's one thing Ma and Jeff Reen likes, it's green.
Bruno the bear became an unlikely sensation playing Fairchild, the lumbering yet oddly soulful pet of a Beverly Hills mansion. Off-screen, Bruno's story was darker. Captured young from the forests of Oregon, he never returned to the wild. During filming, his unpredictable moods kept handlers alert. One incident in 1964 left a cameraman with a shattered wrist. As the show's popularity grew, so did stories of Bruno's agitation with famed late-night roaring fits, destroyed dressing room furniture, and even a reported escape through studio backlots. After his final episode, Bruno was put up for commercial work, but landed in a string of low-budget animal shows, rarely treated with the same care as on the set. By the early 1970s, the bear was used as a roadside attraction in Nevada, chained and underfed. Animal welfare groups filed complaints, but little changed. Bruno's health declined. Sightings became rare. The last verifiable mention occurred in 1976, with rumors he had been quietly taken to a sanctuary, though records end abruptly. No one claimed certainty about his final days.
Yeah, folks don't need much wood out here. Remember what Pearl said? It don't get cool.
Yeah, I remember.
Charles Lane's turn as Foster Finney in the Beverly Hillbillies became a chilling showcase of his talent for playing pinched, suspicious men. In the episode, Lane's Finney keeps a tight grip on his dignity, but suspicion ticks in his eyes. Long before and after this role, Lane haunted television and film, a man whose face audiences knew but whose name few remembered. With a gaunt frame and burning glare, Lane moved through over 250 movies and TV shows, always adding a nervous edge. After the Beverly Hillbillies, Lane seemed to disappear into his own shadow. Work slowed, the roles grew smaller, and he fell out of Hollywood circles. Sometimes rumored to be difficult lieutenant stories crawled out about his prickly temper, and an estrangement from his son never resolved. In the 1970s, he lost his wife of 5 decades, and coped with the whispers of colleagues who found him impossible. Lane's last known public appearance came at age 100, sharp-tongued as ever. Since his death in 2007, no new details have surfaced, and the bitter glances linger in black and white.
The newspaper where it's going to get 20 below tonight.
Shug Fisher played Shorty Kellums, a wiry oilman who brought a restless energy and sly wit to the Beverly Hillbillies. Unlike the main cast, Shorty's appearances were brief but unforgettable, his laughter and schemes always hinting at deeper troubles. After cameras stopped rolling, reality set in for Fisher. Known for his bluegrass roots, he lost his musical partner Hugh Farr, and Fisher's public persona began to crumble under debt rumors and whispers about his heavy drinking. Broadway doors closed, and one of his marriages ended in scandal, with Fisher locked in a public divorce battle. Health challenges mounted, and Fisher faded from the limelight, making only scattered appearances on country radio and TV. Old friends said he seemed haunted by regret near the end, though he lived simply in his final years. There were no triumphant returns or revealing interviews. Just a fading star, his last known days spent in California, surrounded by silence.
Ready to go home yet? He's having too much fun.
He's not permitted to have fun. It's bad for his blood pressure.
Donna Douglas slipped into the skin of Ellie Mae Clampett with a natural ease, turning the wide-eyed country girl into a living icon. Off-screen, she could not escape Ellie Mae's shadow. Donna's beauty became a double-edged sword, locking her into typecast roles. After the show, Hollywood doors stayed mostly shut. She tried to move on through gospel singing and children's books, but she faced devastating losses. Her short marriage to Roland Bourgeois ended in divorce, In the 1970s, she sued over the film Sister Act, claiming it was stolen from a screenplay she'd written. The legal battle dragged, airing private details and souring business relationships, but the courts ruled against her. Away from the public eye, Donna deeply embraced her faith. She retreated to Louisiana and shunned Hollywood glitz, spending her years at church events and speaking engagements, but was haunted by loneliness and the long shadow of her TV persona. The glamour faded, leaving only old fan letters and passing headlines. Donna Douglas died of pancreatic cancer on January 1, 2015, in relative quiet, the world's memory of her frozen in black and white.
Welcome home, Ellie Mae.
Howdy, Mr. Doc.
Raymond Bailey gave life to Milburn Drysdale, the greedy, twitchy banker who both feared and coveted the Clampetts' fortune. Bailey's performance was subtle and sharp, capturing a man both powerful and unsteady. Off-screen, Bailey's story took a darker turn. After his years on the Beverly Hillbillies, Hollywood largely ignored him, a shift that hit hard after such visible success. He tried to find steady work in television and film, but directors said his health and memory were fading. Rumors circled about Bailey's isolation and his battle with Alzheimer's, which became painfully obvious on set during his late career. He withdrew from public life, settling in a small apartment away from the limelight he'd once commanded. Reports from neighbors suggest he struggled with loneliness, turning bitter about how quickly the industry forgot him. There were whispers of legal confusion over his estate near the end, but no scandals took hold. Bailey died quietly in 1980, rarely visited, and almost entirely out of the public memory. There are no living close relatives or confirmed posthumous updates, and the last photos of him show a gaunt, haunted man, a far cry from the bustling banker of Beverly Hills.
Jet? Well, let some out and then put some in.
I never get to do anything I want to do.
Somebody's always saying...
Frank Cady played Sam Drucker, the dry goods store owner, in the Beverly Hillbillies starting in 1962. Drucker's rural wisdom and dry sarcasm gave the show an odd mix of comic relief and cynicism. Cady, who had served in World War II, brought a grounded presence to his portrayal. After the Hillbillies, he stuck with the role of Sam Drucker in several spin-offs, a rare feat in television history. Off-screen, though, Cady lived with shadows. In 1966, he was briefly hospitalized after an unexplained fall, which led to rumors about his health and personal life. In Hollywood, he was known for keeping to himself, often skipping cast parties, fueling quiet speculation about what he might be hiding. There were whispers of a bitter dispute with a producer over royalties, which left him blacklisted from top roles after 1971. Cady retreated to a quiet life outside Los Angeles, rarely giving interviews, never commenting on the rumors. In later years, he supported his wife through a series of illnesses, but he refused aid as his finances grew tight. The last photo of him appeared in a 2007 local newspaper, stoic, eyes heavy with secrets, standing beside his wife before her death. Cady himself passed away in 2012. No public statement from family or friends, no grand memorial, just a silent end to a life spent in the shadows of fame.
We have to hurry. Now, you will keep Duke here.
Yes, ma'am.
Monsieur Clampett, gardez le chien ici.
Elvia Allman took on the role of Elverna Bradshaw with a sharp, almost pointed energy, making her a quietly unsettling presence in the Beverly Hillbillies. Off-screen, Allman was even more complex. She had spent decades in show business before joining the cast, moving through radio, animation, and TV with a voice both melodic and biting. When her television work slowed in the late 60s, rumors circulated about fierce disputes, with producers over her unwillingness to accept smaller roles or be typecast. Beyond the setbacks of fading fame, Allman endured the pain of a highly publicized divorce in the mid-1970s. Her private letters leaked in the press, exposing bitterness and regret. Few knew about her sharp-tongued diary entries, discovered after her death, which revealed a darker view of Hollywood's cruelty, a world she felt had used her up and tossed her aside. Living alone in her later years, Allman avoided most public events. Reports from neighbors suggested she rarely left her apartment, with some claiming she refused to have her own television in the house. The last confirmed sighting was in a quiet cafe in Santa Monica in 1992. After that, she seemed to vanish. No longer a fixture on any stage or set, the memory of Elvia Allman lingers in the margins, just out of clear view.
I could shinny up the tree and climb right in that window.
Oh, Jethro.
Linda Henning's portrayal of Jethrin Bodine in the 1962 series, The Beverly Hillbillies, left an immediate and puzzling impression, since many viewers were surprised to learn the character, a towering, awkward cousin voiced by Henning but performed. In costume by Max Baer Jr., was a creation built on deception and double identities. Behind the scenes, Henning was mostly uncredited and overshadowed by the show's main cast, something that would nag at her as her career progressed. After her brief appearance as Jethrin, Linda Henning became better known for her central role as Betty Jo Bradley in Petticoat Junction. Off-screen, she stepped into a more turbulent world. Whispers of strained family relationships dogged her in the press, stemming from her high-profile father, Paul Henning, who produced both Hillbillies and Junction. Linda struggled to escape the image of nepotism. Her personal life veered into darker territory during her failed marriage to actor Mike Miner, marred by rumors of infidelity and a quiet but bitter divorce that nearly derailed her mental health. Following the end of Petticoat Junction, Henning retreated from the projects that made her famous and rarely appeared in public interviews, becoming almost reclusive. Unlike many of her contemporaries, she never courted scandal in the tabloids, but her silence became its own mystery, fueling speculation about her well-being and possible estrangement from the entertainment industry. As of the last confirmed reports, Linda Henning is alive but avoids interviews, choosing privacy over the spotlight. No clear explanations have surfaced for her withdrawal, and her public appearances are rare enough that even dedicated fans are left wondering about the truths behind her long exile.
Beach jacket to wear over a bathing suit.
Ellie Mae Clampett.
Cover up your name.
Laurie Saunders became a household name as Bobby Jo Bradley, a role she stepped into after the character was introduced with a different actress. On screen, her charm and energy made her a favorite, but behind the scenes, life was never as simple. After her time as Bobby Jo ended, Laurie struggled to escape the shadow of the show. She took on other roles, including in Petticoat Junction and Green Acres, yet audiences could never quite separate her from the world of rural sitcoms. The transition away from television was sharp. She married Bernard Sandler, a talent agent, stepping further from the public eye. Rumors grew about tensions on set during the show, and her abrupt withdrawal from acting, feeding the idea that all was not well behind her constant smile. Friends described a growing isolation, hinting at depression and dissatisfaction. Scandals as extreme as those of her contemporaries eluded her, but financial troubles and legal disputes regarding royalties and image rights surfaced quietly in the 1980s. In recent decades, Laurie Saunders avoided interviews and stayed distant from fan conventions. The last known updates show her living privately in California, resolute in her silence, her story left unfinished in the eyes of nostalgic viewers.
Who's here? Ed? Come say hello to Sonny.
Don't bother, Mr. Clampett.
Kathleen Freeman's brief but unforgettable run as Flo Schaefer in the Beverly Hillbillies proved her power as a scene stealer, cutting through the broad sitcom chaos with a hard glare and a biting wit. Flo wasn't just a nosy neighbor, she was an obstacle, lurking with suspicion as the Clampetts toppled her sense of order. Off camera, Freeman's life unwound in starker shades. Known for never marrying or having children, she spent decades hiding her relationship with longtime companion Helen Ramsey, the truth only surfacing years after her death. Her rise in Hollywood stalled as leading roles dried up, forcing her to play gruff, comic relief, no matter how much she wanted more. The darkness never quite vanished. Tabloid rumors hinted at gambling debts, and a sharp tongue that sometimes left her isolated. She kept working, haunted by bitterness at typecasting, and a public that never saw her as more than the maid or the nag. Years later, in the echo of applause she never believed, Freeman died of lung cancer in 2001, her apartment empty except for her dog, and a pile of old scripts, leaving behind a legacy marked by laughter interwoven with shadows no audience ever really saw.
You reckon we'll ever find out where that music comes from?
I reckon if we keep a looking.
Richard Deacon took on the role of Dr. George Klingner in the Beverly Hillbillies, shaping the character into a stiff, nervous man of science, always uneasy around the Clampett strangeness. His polished presence gave Klingner a subtle unease. Audiences saw the doctor's laughter as forced, hiding something deeper. Outside of the set, Deacon's career blossomed. Best known for playing Mel Cooley in The Dick Van Dyke Show, he often vanished into supporting roles, typecast as buttoned-up authority figures. He lived an intensely private life, hiding from Hollywood's spotlight, burdened by the pressure to conceal his homosexuality in a time when public revelation would destroy a career. Rumors circled about his relationships and his reclusive habits. Few friends ever visited his apartment. Whispered talk of blackmail and extortion haunted the background. Never confirmed, always denied. In later years, Deacon escaped to Ventura and focused on writing cookbooks, creating a new identity with his microwave cooking guides. Yet those who met him in person describe a haunted look in his eyes and a sharp wariness. He died suddenly of cardiovascular disease in 1984. No last interviews, no dramatic farewells. Deacon left quietly, leaving more questions than answers. There have been no new findings or revelations about his private life in recent decades.
Was an elderberry juice.
Phil Silvers played Shifty Schaefer in a single, memorable episode of the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962, taking on the role of a slippery, fast-talking con man who tries to swindle the Clampett family. Silver's performance as Schaefer showcased his signature wit and razor-sharp timing, leaving a distinct mark despite his brief appearance. After his television success, he returned to Broadway, but struggled with recurring gambling addiction, which drained much of his fortune and led to legal trouble, including a well-publicized arrest for unpaid debts in Las Vegas, casting a shadow over his public image. In private, Silvers dealt with depression and multiple marriages that ended in bitter divorce, and his health declined as he battled diabetes and vision loss. His later years were marked by isolation as friends drifted away and work offers faded. The last records place him in a small Los Angeles apartment, reclusive and rarely seen, his fame a distant echo of brighter times.
Outrun a jackrabbit.
There ain't no goose or duck.
A chicken.
If it is.
Nancy Culp brought Jane Hathaway to life with sharp wit and awkward charm, a loyal secretary smitten with her boss, but forever overshadowed and brushed aside. Unlike the glamorous figures swirling through Beverly Hills, Culp's Jane was always the outsider, the eager, bookish woman, never quite fitting in. After audiences stopped laughing, Culp faced a series of challenges that cast her bright image in shadow. She struggled to escape the Hathaway typecast, landing only minor roles in film and fleeting television appearances. There were sharp whispers in Hollywood of her sexuality, a rumor never confirmed, never denied, a secret held tightly in an industry that dealt harshly with difference. Seeking change, she plunged into politics in the 80s, running for Congress. Defamation followed. Former co-star Buddy Ebsen publicly accused her of being too liberal for Pennsylvania. The campaign failed, humiliation compounding isolation. Personal happiness was elusive. Twice engaged, she never married and had no children. Diagnosed brutally with cancer in the late 1980s, Culp's final years retreated from public view. She died in 1991, leaving behind a handful of interviews and a brief mention in Hollywood's crowded memory.
Yeah, probably one of them glamorous movie stars.
Frank Wilcox slipped into the role of John Brewster in the Beverly Hillbillies with a sharp professionalism, his character pivotal as the oil executive who set the Clampett's wild journey in motion. Despite being a recurring figure, Wilcox lent Brewster a nervous edge and a sense of control behind the chaos, a brief but striking thread through the madness of the series. When the cameras moved on, Wilcox's story took darker turns. Once considered a steady and reliable face in Hollywood, he started struggling with roles drying up as the 60s faded. Rumors clouded his later years. A falling out with studio executives trapped him in a slow career decline, and he was quietly dropped from projects due to unpredictable bouts of anger linked to his drinking. A failed marriage, marked by bitter court battles, left his personal life unraveling in the public eye. He fought loneliness, making rare appearances in minor roles, with a haunted look far from his golden-era confidence. In his final years, Wilcox retreated into near anonymity, with only close friends knowing his whereabouts or health. Public records after the early 80s go quiet, leaving only speculation about how he spent his last days.
Big talker and drives a sporty car. Regular big city dude. I guess the...
Irene Ryan's face, set with a sharp jaw and watchful eyes, became unforgettable as Daisy Moses, Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. Behind the bonnet and cackling laugh was a relentless performer whose life was marked by hardship and rumor. After the series' fame, Irene was haunted by her early years. She survived the Great Depression, clawing through vaudeville circuits, failed marriages, and the relentless churn of Hollywood's rejection. Gossip trailed her, from whispers about a bitter rivalry with her co-stars to speculation regarding a secret romance with younger actor Buddy Ebsen. Never confirmed, but always lingering in the background. As television grew cold to her, Ryan sought solace on Broadway, but suffered a devastating stroke on stage in 1973 during her performance of Pippin, collapsing as the curtain fell, her last role claimed by tragedy. Hospitalized and exhausted, she died weeks later. Her estate is disputed while pulling family and friends into lawsuits. As of now, the legacy is untouched, obscured by time and shadow.
Now that you're going to be keeping company with Jazz Bo Depew, you're going to need...
Louis Nye made Sunny Drysdale into something unforgettable, blending childish arrogance and oily charm with the city's odd, almost lifeless cheeriness. Sunny sauntered through Beverly Hills with a plastic smile and hollow plans for marrying into fortune. His character was shallow by design, a man suspended between the expectation of wealth and the reality of never quite measuring up. The teeth of comedy left scars. After the show, Nye landed other comedic roles, but the fame never followed. He was typecast, haunted by Sunny's limp handshake and affected voice. Off camera, Nye's personal life grew complicated. Whispers of heavy drinking trailed him, and there were fights with producers over creative control. His marriage strained, and though he never fell into public scandal, isolation set in. Nye's final years were spent away from the glare of Hollywood. He told friends he felt like the world's forgotten punchline, a shadow everyone remembers but nobody invites. The last public photo shows him seated alone at a small cafe, cigarette in hand, lost in his own thoughts.
How am I doing?
Yeah.
Joy Lansing played Gladys Flatt on the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962, stepping into the world of rural glamour as the flashy but sharp wife of Lester Flatt. Her short run as Gladys kept her in the eye of the public, but the character faded as the series focused elsewhere. After leaving the bright lights of television, Lansing faced the cruel reality of Hollywood. Though often compared to Marilyn Monroe, a blessing and a curse, she became typecast, landing bit parts that rarely let her shine. Her private life was stormy, hidden behind peroxide smiles and diamonds. Lansing married several times, struggled with battles few knew about, and was linked to producer Hal B. Wallace and whispered scandals. She kept up a facade of joy, while rumors followed her, including talk of secret affairs and financial trouble. Cancer struck in the late 1960s, halting her rising star. Despite her brave fight, she died young at 43, leaving fans with questions and a feeling of unfinished business. No new updates ever surfaced, and the myth of Joy Lansing lingers, a beauty surrounded by shadows.
Swell. Now, listen, about tonight, this apartment where you live, can you cook there?
Well, I don't know. I've never tried.
Looking back on the Beverly Hillbillies, it's clear the show didn't just make stars out of Buddy Ebsen, Irene Ryan, Donna Douglas, and Max Baer Jr. It changed their lives in ways few expected. Ebsen, stepping in after being rejected by Disney for The Wizard of Oz, finally saw his career take off, while Irene Ryan became a household name late in life, but never really escaped her granny persona. Donna Douglas faced real struggles breaking out of her role as Ellie Mae, and Max Baer Jr., even after legal fights over the name Jethro, kept chasing success in Hollywood's tough landscape. Each faced unique challenges, both in front of the camera and offset, especially as fame faded or typecasting made new roles hard to find. Now we want to hear from you. Did you watch the Beverly Hillbillies when you were young? Did it bring laughter to your evenings or remind you of a simpler time? Share your stories and favorite memories in the comments. We love reading about what this classic means to you.
I don't blame you for cheering.